My parents kicked me out of the house as a useless failure. Backed my sister's abuse, never knowing I was the millionaire secretly paying for their life. Weeks later, the truth destroyed them. My name is Adam Horf. Yes, Adam, I am a woman, and that name alone was the first thing my family used to mock me with, as if I had already failed before I could even begin. My parents Jacob and Nora used to say it sounded stubborn and unfeminine. My sister Eliza said it suited someone destined to be ordinary, and ordinary was the cruelest word in our house. Growing up, I was the quiet one, the one always on a laptop, always reading charts, numbers, patterns, things they called nonsense. Jacob would shout from the hallway that I was wasting electricity, Nora would sigh loudly and tell visitors that I was still trying to figure myself out, and Eliza, beautiful, loud, ambitious Eliza, would laugh and say I was a useless failure who would never amount to anything beyond typing all day. Before I continue my story, please drop a comment to let me know where you're watching from. Happy New Year! They loved Eliza loudly and publicly. She was their miracle child, the one they bragged about at church dinners and neighborhood barbecues, the one who was destined for big things in real estate, while I was the embarrassment they whispered about, the daughter who didn't dress impressively enough, didn't socialize enough, didn't look successful enough to justify my existence. What they never knew was that while they mocked my laptop, I was building something precise, disciplined, relentless. I was a forex trader, not a hobbyist, not a dreamer, but one of the quiet ones who lived by rules, risk management, patience, and numbers that did not care about emotions. By the time I was 27, I was earning millions a year, quietly, legally, cleanly. I never told them, not because I was afraid, but because I knew who they were, and I was right. I created a shell company called North Shore Meridian Holdings, nothing flashy, nothing traceable to Adam Horf, and through that company, I paid their mortgage, Eliza's car leases, her fake down payments on properties she never owned, Jacob's medical bills, Nora's credit card debts, their vacations, their comfort, their pride. They thought God was blessing them. They thought luck had finally found them. They never once thought of me. The day they disowned me was ordinary, which made it worse. Jacob said I was 30 and still living like a parasite. Nora said she was tired of defending me to relatives. Eliza smirked and said I should move out and go fail somewhere else, and when I tried to speak, Jacob cut me off and said this family had no space for dead weight. I packed one suitcase, my laptop, and left without crying, without shouting, without warning them. That night, I froze every payment. Within weeks, their lives collapsed like a poorly stacked house of cards. The mortgage bounced, the cars were flagged, credit cards declined, Eliza's so-called real estate career imploded when her investors started asking questions she couldn't answer. Jacob screamed that someone had hacked their accounts, Nora cried and swore they were cursed. Eliza accused former boyfriends, co-workers, even friends, never once considering the daughter they had thrown out. They called me, not to apologize, but to accuse. I didn't answer. Instead, I hired a forensic accountant named Marlo Kincaid, meticulous, emotionless, expensive, and worth every cent. I asked for one thing, truth, and what he found made my hands shake for the first time in years. My parents had been using my money to fabricate Eliza's success, staging fake transactions, cycling funds to make her look solvent, and worse, Nora had committed felony identity theft and wire fraud, forging my signature to steal my inheritance left by my grandmother, funneling it to cover Eliza's collapsing lies. They didn't just disrespect me, they erased me, stole from me, and used my silence as permission. I could have gone to the police. My lawyer begged me to, but I didn't want prison, I wanted closure. So I chose something quieter, colder, permanent. 3 months before they disowned me, I had purchased their mortgage through a holding firm, something Marlo suggested as a precaution back when I still believed in family. They never noticed, never asked, never read the letters properly, and when the foreclosure notice arrived, addressed legally and correctly, they panicked. I invited them to dinner. They came desperate, defensive, rehearsed. Eliza accused me of sabotaging them. Jacob demanded I fix whatever I had broken. Nora cried and said a mother's heart should be respected, and then I slid the documents across the table, one by one, calmly, carefully, explaining everything. The shell company, the payments, the dependency, the fraud, the mortgage. The silence afterward was heavy, suffocating, unforgettable. I told them our relationship had expired, not emotionally, but contractual, like any bad investment. I told them they were no longer profitable to keep. They begged. I stood up. The house was foreclosed. Eliza filed for bankruptcy. Her reputation burned quietly but completely. Jacob and Nora moved into a cramped rental they pretended was temporary. Friends stopped calling. Church members whispered. Pride vanished. Nora is under investigation now, not because I reported her, but because fraud always leaves fingerprints, especially when built on arrogance. As for me, I moved to a secluded ranch under a sky that doesn't judge, where mornings are silent and nights are mine. I didn't win because they lost. I won because I finally stopped paying for their lies. My revenge was not cruelty, it was freedom, and it was the most peaceful thing I have ever owned. Never underestimate quiet strength. True power lies not in proving others wrong, but in reclaiming your life and peace. Family loyalty is earned, not owed, and those who betray trust often fall by their own greed. Please like, share and subscribe for more stories. Thank you.